2020 has been called the year from hell. So thinking back, I came up with a top 5 list of stories, and I thought I'd count those down for you today.
Number 5. I've gotten into Alzheimer's risk factors previously, but there have been some recent developments, or in some cases, recent updates. The first, which has been known for a few years, is that various medications are now believed to raise dementia risk. I include this item here because it has been reiterated recently, for example, in this piece by the Cleveland Clinic. And I also include it because the list is so expansive and includes drugs, like those for depression and allergies, that millions of us take. Numerous potentially problematic examples, such as some formulations of Benadryl, can be gotten over the counter. I have gotten into allergies and dementia care elsewhere. But the offending pharmaceuticals also include Valium and Xanax, and even the widely used sleep aid, Ambien. A further risk comes by way of our drinking water, which in numerous cities has detectable and even dangerous levels of so-called forever chemicals. These can have a negative effect on our hormones and our endocrine systems. But also, they are now believed to be neurotoxic, possibly building up in the brain over time. This may lead to, or make worse, various forms of dementia, including Parkinson's disease and, of course, Alzheimer's disease. This suggests that ensuring access to quality, pure drinking water is a vital component of reducing your dementia risk. Now, as mentioned, some of these risks have been known, but this year, USA Today reported a new one: air pollution. The prestigious medical journal, The Lancet, recently published the results of a 17-year study, with researchers concluding that dirty air is increasing our risk for cognitive impairments and neurological problems, again, including Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Current Environmental Protection Agency standards aren't actually protecting us, if these scientists are to be believed at any rate. For general information on additional risk factors, including age and comorbidities, see my other videos. Number 4. The death of Professor Martha Clare Morris. This one shocked me, as I only discovered it in passing while doing research. Dr. Morris was the author of the book Diet for the Mind. She died in February after a battle with cancer. Dr. Morris had been a faculty member at Rush University in Chicago, and her nutritional prescription, referred to as the Mind Diet, may actually help reduce our risk for dementia, even when recommendations are followed only a little bit. I have a video introduction to the Mind Diet, and in my written work online, you can find a fairly thorough list of the various do's and don'ts. But for an even briefer overview, see my recent video on 10 ways to reduce your Alzheimer's risk. Dr. Morris was only 64 years old, and she will be missed. Number 3. In 2019, there was a huge buzz about a supposedly groundbreaking and hard-to-say drug, Aducanumab, which held promise as an Alzheimer's treatment, which it was hoped would be able to break up the amyloid plaques that aggregate in the brains of afflicted patients. But somewhat surprisingly, the Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, declined to approve it. They cited a lack of persuasive evidence. Other so-called anti-amyloid drugs have fared no better. And although Aducanumab's case is still ongoing, its failure to impress underscores the need for innovative research, as some scientists are actually conducting with various psychedelics like LSD and also assorted herbs such as peppermint and saffron, both of which I've covered in other videos. Number 2. Testing for Alzheimer's is a complicated business. Right now, the gold standard is a PET scan. PET stands for positron emission tomography. It's brain imaging, and it's expensive, so it's not always performed. This means that sometimes Alzheimer's diagnoses are based solely upon cognitive and behavioral symptoms, which some people argue may lead to misdiagnosis. Of course, there is a way to get a definitive conclusion. You can perform an autopsy, but obviously this can only be done after the patient has died. This is why the prospect of an Alzheimer's blood test is so exciting. In July, such a test was reported to have been close, and as of November, many states now have one such test available. I won't get deep into the details here, but in general terms, the test looks for abnormal levels of the protein that causes Alzheimer's characteristic tangles. And the exciting thing is, the test is reputed to be as accurate as the PET scan. It comes with the bonus that it may be able to identify Alzheimer's in preclinical stages before a person shows any impairment, and when early interventions may be highly effective. For a bit more, see my earlier video. Number 1. I can't really avoid covering this one. As we all know by now, COVID-19 originated in China in late 2019, early 2020. It was reported to have migrated out of China by January, and it was also supposed to have been in the United States shortly thereafter. According to official sources, it's responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths, even if only as a comorbidity. Now, Alzheimer's is not directly considered a specific risk factor, but as COVID is a respiratory virus, it's certainly relevant to long-term care scenarios. For once they've contracted it, Alzheimer's and other dementia sufferers may, due to advanced age or to their cognitive deficits, be less able than others to deal with it. And this makes disinfection of long-term care environments, including nursing homes, extremely important. I've gotten into this in a few videos, but the reason COVID-19 made the #1 position here was because of this. The coronavirus pandemic is killing people with Alzheimer's who didn't even contract the virus. How does that work? Well, one alleged culprit is the lockdown-precipitated isolation. According to AARP, the American Association of Retired Persons, we are literally facing a loneliness epidemic, and it's killing thousands, especially Alzheimer's sufferers. NBC reports the case of one 80-year-old who, because of his dementia, can't understand why his family won't visit him. Just to recap, #5, expanded appreciation for Alzheimer's environmental risk factors, including dirty air and water. #4, the sad news of the passing of Mind Diet pioneer Martha Clare Morris. #3, the setbacks related to anti-amyloid pharmaceutical interventions like the hard-to-pronounce Adukanyumab. #2, the major positive this year, the availability of a new blood test for Alzheimer's disease. And #1, the impact of coronavirus, a.k.a. COVID-19, not just directly, but the impact of lockdowns and social distancing on dementia sufferers, especially in terms of decreased interaction and stimulation and increased loneliness, both of which accelerates their decline. And I may explore this in a future video.
I hate to finish on a downer, but in a way, I guess that's a fitting end to 2020. But as always, if you found something of use in the video, please like it, and if you want to see new content this year, then I invite you to subscribe to the channel or check back, and if you click the notification bell, you'll actually be alerted as things are published. Thank you so much for being with me today, and I wish you a happy and prosperous 2021.